Hello, hello, and thank you for joining me again for Be Bold Out Loud. I am Dr. Michelle, your transformation strategist and your confidence coach. And here on Be Bold Out Loud, we inspire and encourage women to break through their obstacles so that they can lead in their destiny. And I've been privileged to have so many amazing guests on the show who talk about their experience and talk about how they have had their breakthrough moments. And they inspire you to have your breakthrough moments. So, again, today we have an amazing guest with us, and I'm going to bring her to the stage and introduce her. This is Miss Evancia Barron, and she is the Bounce Back Coach. Thank you for joining me today, Evancia.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. This is really amazing. So thank you.
Absolutely. And I want to read your bio because I want everyone to know who you are. And then we're going to have what I know is going to be an amazing conversation. So let me read this. Evancia Barron is a certified life coach and the founder and CEO of the Pursuit to Greatness Academy, specializing in empowering women to take charge of their life by overcoming setbacks. Her mission is to guide women on a journey to create a new life action plan to pursue their goals. You can call her the Bounce Back Coach. She received a bachelor's of business administration at Baruch College in New York and an MBA at the University of Phoenix in Arizona. She has been featured on major media platforms such as CEO Weekly, Fox, News Channel Nebraska, Digital Journal, among others. She has over 20 years of leadership experience and plans on taking her business, Evancia Enterprises LLC, to great heights. So I am so excited, and I am so excited to hear about the bounce back and what that means. So just talk to us a little bit about being the bounce back coach and what that means for the women that get to work with you.
So being the bounce back coach, when I say the bounce back coach, it comes with so much pride and it comes with so much experience that I've had and what I've been through and what I came out of. And that's all in the bounce back. And in life, we go through so much and we go through setbacks. And some of us, we get stuck there. We don't get out of the setback. And some of us, like myself, who was able to get out of that, I would say bounce back from that setback and really just moved forward and created a whole new life, a whole new experience, and just changed the trajectory of my life. That's what the bounce back is. So
Mm.
bouncing back really means taking charge of your life and just making a plan and then moving forward with that plan. So that is the bounce back.
I love that. Yes, taking charge, having a plan, and moving forward with the plan. Because it's so true. We all do have setbacks and we all have obstacles. And you alluded to the fact that you've had some personal experiences that have been some barriers in your way. And I think that we all have. I know that we all can share stories about those barriers that could get in our way and keep us from really reaching the destiny that we're designed to reach. So, can you talk a little bit more about what the breakthrough looked like for you, and what you would say to somebody who's in that space where they feel like they are in these obstacles that they cannot overcome?
Yeah, I would share one of the biggest setbacks in my life, which actually was one of the main reasons why I decided to be the bounce back coach. I would say about 10 years ago, I was in a relationship. I was engaged to be married, start a new life, and sail into the sunset. And when I moved, so many things happened at that time. I had no job. When I moved, we broke up immediately after moving. So I was left, unemployed, heartbroken, no place of my own to live, no family and friends not knowing what was going on with me, what was, where I was in the situation. And I
Mhm.
just, in that moment, I felt like I was in the dump. I was, in a dark space. And that was a setback for me because prior to that, I was living a great life. I had, a great job. I had a good life in New York at the time. And so moving into a whole new state, totally changed everything for me. Just being somewhere where I'm not familiar, I had no family and friends there, and just being able to take charge of that situation, going from feeling I was down in the dump with nothing, no money, no job, no home, no relationship,
Mhm.
to saying, you know what, I can do this, and taking charge and making a plan and deciding to move forward and deciding to take the steps I needed to take to get myself to where I needed to go. So I made a new plan for my life. And that is how the bounce back coach came about, bouncing back from that major setback from nothing to bouncing back even better than I was before I had that major setbacks. So
Mhm.
for me, it was so personal to me. And so that's why I became a life coach and the bounce back coach, to be exact, to help women who are experiencing setbacks and not sure where to turn, if they can move forward, and just giving them guidance, just holding their hands and showing them the way to go from where they are in that setback to where they really need to be.
Right. Yeah, and I heard you say several things, and something that has been said on this show before, and that's the importance of making that decision, because you could have easily stayed right where you were. You could have wallowed in that. You
Hmm.
could have had a pity party, and you could be at a very different place than you are right now. But you said, I decided to make a plan and to move forward with my plan, and that is so key. And I know sometimes when we're having these setbacks, when we're in difficult situations, there's really sometimes nothing in us that's motivated really to want to do anything, except the fact that we don't want to stay where we are, right? And just like you said, you hold their hand, you help support them to get from where they are right now to where they want to be. And so very key is, first of all, making the decision, but then putting together the plan and having the support. And who would you say were the support people for you when you were in that season and really needing to move forward in your life?
I would say at the time I didn't have a support system because I was in a whole new state and no one was near me. So
Okay.
immediately I had to find my new tribe. I would say find
Mm,
new connections. So I found a church, a new church home. So I made connections there. I joined meetup groups. I networking events, and I even created my own meetup groups just to meet like-minded people, to
mhm,
socialize and to engage and to bounce off ideas and just really to put myself out there to create a whole new environment for myself. Because the thing is, when we go into that, we can't be alone, we can't stay where we are. We have to put a support system around us so that they can help us out of where we are. So that's what I did. And
mhm.
I'm so grateful for that experience, because if it wasn't for those experiences, those connections, I would have been wallowing in like you said, the pity party.
Mhm.
I would have had no one to go to, no one to look up to, no one to bounce off ideas of, to really give me guidance. And so I'm just grateful for the experience and, for the idea of actually going that route.
Yes. And you had to be, and this is something that, we talk about on being bold. You had to be bold. You had to be brave, to really go to meetup groups, to create your own meetup group, to do things, to put yourself out there. That took bravery and that took boldness. And sometimes, and I'm gonna guess that you did it this way. We have to do it scared. Sometimes we don't feel like fully confident, but we know that what we need to do is going to be necessary for us to push past the fear and do it. And
Mhm.
so can you talk a little bit about just pushing past our fears so that we can get to that next level?
Yeah, and like you said, that's something that I say too. Do it scared. Do it anyway. Do it with your hands shaking. Do it with, with your palms sweaty. Just do it, because at the end of the day, you know what you need. Deep down, you know what you want for yourself, and you know it's not where you are. You know you want more. And there's something inside of you that says I want more, and you just need to find the person to guide you there. If you don't have it within yourself, find some family, find some friends, find your tribe of people who can surround you and give you guidance. And if not, find yourself a coach. Eventually I also got a coach, but in the moment you have to use your resources, who you have in front of you at that moment. But you
Mhm.
just have to find that connection, find your support system.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, find and use what's in your hand. Use the resources that you have right in the moment. I love that. And so when I talk about being bold, I talk about breaking through those obstacles, but I also talk about leading your life, taking the lead in your life. And I share a story where when we were kids and we were going out to the playground, and there was always a line leader, and you always wanted to be the line leader, and you loved being the line leader because everybody else had to get behind you. And that's the same way I want people to view their obstacles, is that you're the line leader for your life. Your obstacles are behind you, they have to stay behind you, and you're leading. So can you talk about the whole idea of leadership and what that means for us personally, when we have to be the one to take the steps to get ourselves from point A to point B, whatever our point B is?
That's a really good question, because really we have to, like you said, be leaders in our lives, because if not, we won't guide ourselves to anywhere. We will just stay where we are. We won't try to prosper. We won't try to do better for ourselves. So I would say, for me, when I think about leadership, leading my life, I think about being authentic. Because I was born and raised in the Caribbean, from Dominica, a tiny island. And so with that, I come with a different background, different culture. And so I want to make sure I stay true to myself, who I am, and who I was brought up to be. So that is one thing that I have to stay true to myself, that being authentic. So when you're leading your life, you have to be true to yourself. You have to be authentic in who you are, and not try to be anyone else. And so just being that person, it shows others who you are. You staying true to yourself, you're authentic, and they will want to do the same things that you are doing, as long as you're moving forward and you're setting the example for other people to follow. So really, being a leader in your life is really just setting an example for others who have experienced something similar, or who can identify with you, and they can really follow your footsteps in the right path.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Authenticity is key. And I love that you said, I have to be true to who I am. And I was speaking this morning about how we can so often try to compare ourselves, right, to other people and to their situation. And we don't know, what other people have been through, and the way that they walk through their situation may be very different than the way we walk through ours. And so the authenticity is so critical, because for you, me, to get through our personal situations, we can't be anybody else. We
Mhm.
can't walk in anybody else's shoes. We have to walk it out in our shoes, in the way that we would walk it out. And so I love that. And like you said, being an example, right? Because what you have been through, there are so many women, they may not be going through the exact situation, but they can relate in some ways. And so what you've been able to show and are showing is that it is possible, right, to bounce back. It is possible to push through those setbacks and those obstacles, even though at the time, I'm sure it looked very bleak and you didn't know what you were going to do. But now, looking back on it, look at all that has happened and what you have been able to do, to lead in your own life, right? So when you think about the women that you've had the opportunity to work with and putting that plan together for them, are there some key steps in planning for your next that you would share with women that you're working with, or share with the audience?
Yes, I would definitely say there are some key steps that you have to take, because you can't just go around without a plan. That is the biggest thing, is making a plan,
Right.
and not just saying, oh yes, I want to be whatever X is in 5 days or in 20 days, but you have to really write it out, and making sure that it's written down in
Mm-hmm.
weekly, monthly, even daily steps in how you're going to get from point A to point B. And
Mhm.
one of the first things that we do in my coaching program is really getting clarity. First of
Mhm.
all, figuring out what it is that you want out of life. Where do you see yourself? What are your goals? What are your dreams? What is it that you want to do? Because a lot of people not sure what they want to do, where they want to go, if they want to stay, what career path, if they're happy on their job. There are so many what ifs, and they're not sure. So we first have to figure out, get clear on what that is, what you need to work on. And then
Mhm.
once we figured out what that is, then we make a plan to move forward and we make some steps in what they're going to do to go
Mhm.
from point A to point B. So
Mhm.
that is the biggest step. And unless we don't get through that step, you really can't move forward. You have to first get clear on what it is that you need to work on, and then
Right.
we can move forward. And
Right.
that's when the fun starts and the
Yes.
accountability starts. And I'm holding you accountable too. That's when all the work starts. But first,
Mhm.
get clear on what it is that you want to work on for yourself.
Right, right. I love that. I love that, and I think that that speaks so much to just the importance of being self-aware and really knowing yourself, knowing who you are, knowing what your experiences, what kind of mindset those experiences may have put you in, knowing where they may have you positioned emotionally, and so all of that is part of that getting clear, having the clarity to know, okay, this is where I am. This is what I need to work through. This is where I'm trying to get to. And like you said, then having very specific steps to be able to get there. And I hear a lot of people do that. And I always talk about this around New Year, how people make these New Year's resolutions and it's like I'm gonna do this in 30 days. No steps, no plan. You don't know how you're gonna do it, but you're going to do it. And we know what happens is that those resolutions fall by the wayside. And part of it is because there is no clear plan, there is no clear steps as
Right.
to how you're going to get there. So I love that, helping to people to get clarity. And when I feel like when you get that clarity, there's a different peace that comes on you because you don't feel so scattered and so just kind of out of control. When you don't have clarity, you just kind of feel out of control. At
Mhm.
least from my perspective, you do.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you think about like where you are right now, and I read in your bio that you are really wanting to take your business to the next level. And so I talk about destiny, like, and what does that mean? What's in view for you? And a lot of times, I think people can miss all of what they can gain in the journey, right? um there's so much growth, there's so much maturity, there's so much knowledge and wisdom that you gain on the journey trying to get to where you want to be. So can you talk a little bit about that journey to get to your destination, and then what does destiny mean? What does that even mean for people, for you?
Mhm. Yeah, so definitely when I started this business, when I decided to start the business, I had no clue in terms of what a life coach meant. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to help women. I wanted to guide women, in their setbacks. And I was a leader at the time. I was a manager of a major bank, and I've been in leadership role for many years. And so, shifting from doing that to actually guiding women and leading women in their lives was a whole different a whole different area for me. And so I had to really think about that obstacle and really create a plan how I was going to overcome that obstacle and
Mhm.
learn the business aspect of being a life coach. And so what I did was I educated myself. I invested in a coach myself, a business coach, to guide me on the steps. Not really so much in how to coach, because I knew I wanted to help women. I knew the steps I needed to help women on because I've been through it myself, but really the business aspect of it. So once I was able to understand the business part of it and really put that together with my mission and what my purpose was, you know
Mhm.
I was just hitting the ground running. And now that I've gotten, I've gotten where I need to be in terms of the business aspect of it. I have and I have the coaching program. I have clients that I'm working with right now. And what for me, destiny is really just continuing my purpose, just doing more of what I'm currently doing, and
Mhm,
making the space and for to invite more women in to be able to help more women. So
mhm,
right now, that is what I'm doing with my business, really just expanding and making my business available to help
mhm,
more women go from their setback to really to get to the resilience that they need to be to move forward,
mhm.
with their life and their purpose and what they need to do. So destiny for me is, for my business, is really just expansion and helping more women.
Mhm. That's beautiful. Absolutely. And you said something that's so in key, so key. You said that I educated myself, right? You got the knowledge and the information that you needed. So you said, it wasn't that I didn't know how to coach. I knew my experience. I knew how to help women. I needed to understand the business aspect of it. And our listeners may need various aspects. They may need different aspects for their journey, but educating yourself on the things that the places you're lacking, is very key. And you made the investment in yourself, and I think that that's where a lot of times women can miss it, is that they're not willing to make the investment because I don't know, they feel like they can handle it by themselves, or I shouldn't need help with this, whatever those thoughts are that keep us from being willing to really take that next step and allow somebody really to support us and help us through our obstacles so that we can really get to that place of destiny, whatever that looks like for each individual person. And for you, it's expansion right now. But I think that those are very critical, and important points, that we have to educate ourselves and we have to invest in ourselves.
We do.
So go ahead.
I would add though, and from the business aspect of it, I had been working other businesses as well. I did have a real estate business and a baby diaper backpack line that I was working on, but those aspects of the business was quite different. So I knew how to run a business. I knew how to coach because I've coached teams before, but
Mhm,
really making sure that I understand, how to guide women, because there's a thin line between being a coach and being a therapist, and I had to
mhm.
make sure that I was guiding women, the right women who needed the guidance and was ready to go from either a therapist to a coach, or just making sure I guide them in the right way. Because what I
Right.
did not want to do was lead women in the wrong direction. And it's
Mhm,
so key in their growth is
mhm.
making sure that they are ready for the next step. So that was key.
That is beautiful. And I'm so glad you brought that up, that there is a difference between therapy and coaching, because someone who's looking for a coach is really looking for someone to help guide them, help hold them accountable to getting to where they want to be. And there's a place for therapy, but coaching is different. And I think it's important to make that distinction. So I'm so glad that you brought that up. So, as you work with the clients that you're working with now, clients that you've worked with in the past, as you see kind of the success that they're able to have, just what's that like to be able to see people really achieve what they came to get? Like they got the clarity, they took the steps, they made the plan, they were clear on taking the action steps, and now they've gotten to success. So what's that been like to actually help women to experience that success?
Yeah, that is the best part of working, and doing what I do, because when the women, when they get to where they need to go, like you feel like you've achieved it. It feels like it's very personal,
Yes.
because you work side by side with them. You've held their hands. You made the phone call. Okay, what are you doing? Okay, have you, you hold
Yes.
you hold them accountable. And sometimes not all of them need that phone call of accountability, but some of them do. And so everyone is different in how they receive coaching. So just knowing how to utilize your coaching skills. But really, it's just been fulfilling, just seeing women go from where they were. And even if it's just small steps, there may be sometimes where they may not have accomplished every step, but just the incremental growth,
Mhm.
this is the rewarding part of it. This is truly what makes me do what I do every day.
Absolutely. And you're right. It is the growth. We're just so excited when
Yeah.
we see the growth, when we see something change, something switch for somebody, their mindset shifts. That is so exciting. And it's, I mean, it was exciting for us when we went through it, as we go through it. And it's always exciting to see that for the women that we work with as well. I agree with that. So, as we begin to wrap up, are there any takeaways that you would want to share with our audience just as they think about bouncing back from the setbacks and what that is going to take? Any takeaways for our audience?
Yes, I would say that if you are experiencing a setback, it could be on the job, it could setback in a relationship. Maybe you're going through a divorce, you have a heartbreak, maybe you experience some loss, the loss of a loved one. You just feel stagnant and stuck in life. You're not sure where to go, what to do, where to go with your life. It's not the end of the world. I just want to let you know there. You can reach out, find your support system. That's the key thing. Find your support system, not just anyone, but someone who can help you, hold your hands, and just let you take those small steps to where you need to go. And if you don't have that support system, or if you want to get there faster, reach out to a coach. There are so many coaches. Find somebody that you can identify with, whoever that is, who you feel comfortable with, that can guide you, and you feel that you can share, your experience, you can share your setback, and you can share some of the things that's going to help that person guide you. And so if you are looking for a coach, I am here. You can find me on social media, at Coach Evancia or Evancia Baron. And I also want to leave you with a free gift, how to bounce back after a setback. You can go to bouncebackfreegift.com for a free gift on some of the steps to help you bounce back. So I just want to say to you, just don't stay where you are. Just find a way to get out of where you are. Make some small steps, reach out, get some support, reach out to a coach, a life coach, or somebody that you look up to guide you to where you need to go. Just keep moving.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much. You have been such a blessing, I know, to me personally, but also to our listeners. And I encourage you all to, if you know that you need to bounce back, if you are in that place where you need some support, I encourage you to reach out to Coach Evancia, as she is the bounce back coach and she has experience that, so she understands where you are, and that is half the battle, is having somebody that understands where you are and where you're trying to go. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really, really appreciate it. And I just can't thank you enough for just the wealth and the wisdom that you share with our audience tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And I always love being able to share my experience, because when we share with somebody else, they understand, what I am her, and I can be like her, and I can bounce back. So this is for everyone. If I bounce back, you can bounce back too. So thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you. So, thank you for listening again to Be Bold Out Loud. We have had some amazing nuggets tonight. Uh, Getting that clarity and having a clear plan with the steps to get to where you are trying to go, it is critical. Living authentically and being willing to educate yourself and invest in yourself so that you can move towards your destiny. You're not going to get there wallowing in where you are, but if you would take some of the steps that we've talked about tonight, you too can be all that you've desired to be, all that you've been purposed to be. And you can be bold out loud. You can break through those obstacles so that you can lead in your destiny, leading your own life to get to where you are designed to be. So I am so thankful for you joining again. I am Dr. Michelle. I'm your transformation strategist, and I too am here to assist and support you to be able to get to where you are desiring to be and to get out of those obstacles and past those obstacles that have tried to hold you back. They're not going to hold you back any longer. This is your opportunity. So please reach out. You can reach me at www.drmichellewells.com. All right. Until the next time, thank you again for joining us here on Be Bold Out Loud. And I cannot wait to see you again.